control, be the puppet master. Keep reading.
But the end is not yet.
The end is not yet. The end is not yet, man. You know what I mean? These things it's going to be a lot of things that's going on around. Everybody that's talking about, they got a big debate right now talking about restaurants. Oh yeah, you can't take me on that on the first date. You ain't gonna. It's gonna be a time you gonna wish that you can eat some Waffle House because you might be so wrapped into this world and being comfortable in it. When things start hitting the fan, you know that you if you don't got your stockpile now, you understand, and things start going crazy. And things start hitting the fan. You gonna wish that you can eat some Waffle House. you understand what I'm saying? You're gonna wish that you could eat some Cheesecake Factory food. You're gonna wish that you could eat and drink, period. Because you don't know how these times are gonna happen. Keep going.
This is book Matthew 4:7. For nation shall rise against nation.
Come on. Keep going.
And kingdom against kingdom.
Kingdom against kingdom. Keep going.
And there shall be famines.
Famines. It's going to get real. We saw what happened when COVID-19 hit. We saw it. We saw what happened. Let me tell you something. We saw what happened when ICE came and locked up a bunch of our Mexican brothers and sisters. Right? They always talking about, illegal immigrants. They the real legal immigrants. But if it's not for the Hispanics working on those plantations, on them farms, you know that America don't survive. Like shout out Kenneth Cesario, man. He said, without blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, without the 12 tribes of Israel, America will fall. Right. They can't work hard as us. They don't have the ambition like we do. Right. They're not going to work the jobs that we would tolerate and work. I'll be at my slave, right? And literally, it's this it's this subcontracting company that does housekeeping in the building I work in. And me and the other guy that I work with, he's like a primary guy on the site. He makes a good amount of money, right? But the other people that comes in, their starting rate is like low as ever. And we're grown, okay? We live in 2023. The price of living is expensive. In my head, I'm like, okay, y'all paying these people this much money. You know how many people I done seen come and go within a year? At least like 7, 8 people. These people is giving chump change. You understand what I'm saying? No, who's going to work that job if Black, Hispanic, Native Americans don't work it? They're not going to work that job because they know damn well the price of living is too much. You dig what I'm saying? They won't be able. They don't have the spirit that we do to make things elevate. That's why Christ hold the people. That's why Christ called it. He said, "Man, we the salt of the earth. We are. We the salt of the earth, and we have to start being able to benefit off of one another. That's why the ISUPK is here. You know what I mean? And I always preach this, man. Like brothers out there, it's time. I see a lot of people. They watch the shows. They watch the classes. It's time for, if you're not in the school already, you need to get in. You need to get in all black quickly, because it's a war going on outside. It's a whole war going on outside, and it's not the time to fall back, chill. Hey man, I see y'all. I see the fight going on. Oh, and when the fight go on, man, I'm gonna be there. You should be here now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's time to get active. I always tell brothers that's around me, I say, man, we gotta stay active. You know what I mean? It's especially right now. You know what I mean? Let's put a foot on the gas. We can't work. We gotta be like in the fifth gear right now, because everything is happening. Everything. That famine is going to happen. All that make-believe, delusional lifestyle, everything is going to go back to the old ways of living. All right, let's we can skip that. Give me Revelations 19 and 11. I'm gonna try to go through that quickly because this is a secret that we understand that the Most High revealed to the Isupk that the world still don't understand till this day. Still don't understand it. Still don't know why this is talking about this in the Bible. Like you get this to a Christian, you ask them, what you think Judgment Day gonna be? How you think Christ gonna come back? And they give you this song and a dance. But this is how Christ is gonna come back. Go ahead.
But Revelation 19, verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse.
A white horse. Keep going.
And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True.
It was what?
And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True.
Faithful and true. That's what he's called. So if Christ is labeled as being faithful and true, if we supposed to, people out there call themselves Christians, you had to be faithful and true. How can you be faithful? I think everybody understands that because especially sisters out there, you want a man to be faithful. You understand? You brothers out there, you understand that you want a woman to be faithful, playing by the rules. I think somebody at the door. You know, you want somebody to play by the rules. Christ was labeled as being faithful and true. All right, that's his reputation. All right, it says that and in righteousness he does judge and make war. Why? Because he's a king, man. The Most High gave him that authority. Ain't nobody. All right, the Most High gave Christ that authority. We're gonna figure out what Christ, you understand, is what he's gonna do with that authority. Keep going. Verse 12.
God. This is the book of Acts. We finish 11.
Straight to 12. I finished it.
This is the book of Revelation, 19 and verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
His eyes were as a flame of fire.
Keep going.
And on his head were many crowns.
Right.
And he had a name written that no man knew, but he himself.
Yeah, man. A lot of people don't understand Christ today. That's why here in IGBK, we love to present ourselves in the name of Christ. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to represent the kingdom of God. We're supposed to represent the Most High. We're supposed to represent our King. We can't go outside and be it's the same way, like, you know, your parents, when they tell you, man, don't go out making me look like, don't be out there going outside embarrassing me. You understand? It's the same way with the Most High. Let's not embarrass the Most High. Let's keep these commandments. That's what we need to do. The commandments actually make our nation wise and strong. It prevents the bad things from happening within our lives and to other people. Like today, you know, I'm from Philly, so I like to keep my ears to what's going on in the city. I see a lot. I see a lot of unalivings. I'm like, okay, what was going on? So I might holler at some people that's still around in the streets and stuff like that to figure out what's going on. And like I hear things, and you know, today I was watching you know, some of the stories of what was going on, and because, you know, these kids is got these demons on them so heavily, they literally telling on themselves and moving any kind of way. You understand what I'm saying? And because we're not keeping these commandments of God, the children right now, they young as 15, 13, 11 years old, 12 years old in the streets, using high-power firearms, illegal firearms, and using them against their own brothers. The ones that grew up in the same struggle as them. As parents, we got to understand that we had to keep these commandments of God. The commandments of God would not have you going to a funeral early as hell for your child. You shouldn't have to bury your child first. Your child should be burying you. Like, while I'm listening to this story, It's literally my little cousin that got unalived. One of the guys in one of these groups. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and that's just one. It's more. You understand of my family members that's affiliated with these unalivings that's going on in the city. And if we understood the power of keeping the commandments of God, man, our children, we won't have to worry about our boys getting into the streets. Because why? They know to love their brother. So when you out here and you trying to kick game about about these commandments and this truth, you gotta break it down to somebody that you gotta break it down to common understanding. You don't want to go too hard and give them like a whole bunch that they won't be able to understand. Talk about them kids. Talk about we keep the commandments of God. We won't have to bury our children so young. You understand? If we keep the commandments of God, we won't have to worry about our daughters, you understand, bringing some baby back at 16, or you understand, having multiple bodies by the time she's 17 years old. Like, you got to break it down like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? If we keep the commandments of God, we won't have to be walking around with bullets still in us. You understand? Because we got shot at. If we keep the commandments of God, we wouldn't have to be worried about child support, worrying about raising babies by ourselves because you understand you slept with some coward, you understand, some unfit brother, you understand. I mean, you gotta break it down to them with everybody fronting their mind issues. You understand? Christ came for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We got to represent Christ, especially right now. We can't walk around. It shouldn't be a stigma that Black people don't take care, Black men don't take care of their kids. It shouldn't be a stigma that a Black woman had multiple baby daddies. It shouldn't be a stigma that Black people relationships just don't, they just don't, work. And Black women is loudmouth and ignorant, and Black men is, you understand, just criminals. We got to change that, not now, but right now. All right. Christ is letting us know how we gonna get some justice. That's why Christ said, man, keep the commandments of God. Be steadfast in this truth. If you fall weak, count on your brothers. Count on your brothers so that you can continue to fight. You understand me? We gotta fight. Like me personally, I tell brothers, man, okay, yeah, we can be the head of that woman in that house all day long, but we also gotta be heads, you understand, and have responsibility over other houses. Right. Meaning the men that's in there, we should be, hey, brother, you know what I'm saying? This is what we gotta do, boom, 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 boom. Because that's the time that we in right now. The Black, Hispanic, Native American man, we don't got no time to be sitting back, chilling, thinking that we can just live our good old life and, you understand, chase after women and party and drink and what else? Get high. That ain't the life for a Black, Hispanic, Native American man. We built to be soldiers, built to be leaders of this nation. That's what we supposed to be doing. You understand? And you sisters out there, you understand? You need to be supporting the brothers that's getting active in these streets and doing what the Most High told us to do. You understand? Supporting your husband, supporting your brothers, showing your sisters, man, how to be righteous and modest. That's why I love the Isupk, because it represents righteousness. Right. We got to keep pushing. You understand? Let's keep reading.
Okay. This is the book of Revelation, 19, verse 12. His eyes were as a flame of fire.
His what?
His eyes were as a flame of fire.
Come on, man, that's Christ. We already know what it's talking about. Eyes, flame is fire. Drunk a lot of wine. You understand? Drunk a lot of wine. Keep going.
And on his head were many crowns.
With many crowns. How you get these many crowns, Abba? Let's keep reading.
And he had a name written that no man knew,
Keep going.
but he himself.
Keep going.
Verse 13. And he was cloaked with a vessel dipped, and he was cloaked with a vesture dipped in blood.
That's how he got all them crowns, y'all. That's for the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. He got all of those crowns because he had to go to war. That's what it means, your vesture being dripped and like it's been dipped in blood. You understand? That's what our king is ready to do for us. And if we don't understand that, then you're gonna get left. All that money that you slave for, all those ambitions and goals, all of that. Listen, I buy all the nights that you wrote papers and studied for tests in college. None of those things is going to matter if you don't understand that Christ is coming back for us and what we must do. Straight up. Like when I understood that, like, let me tell you something, man. I was the type of cat, if I fell on hard times, if the white man's paper wasn't giving me enough, I was gonna try to make some money. You understand? Until I came into the school, I realized that money, you understand, should never be my God. And a lot of us, money is our God. Yahanna, Hashem Yahshua Barakatah. You ready for it right now? I'm ready for you. All right, with that being said, y'all can manage in Yahanna here. I'm gonna pass the class over to him. No, you can't run no time. Just order for you right there.
Good. Oh man, a lot going on, huh? The world is falling apart. They're bombing the hell out of them Palestinians, aren't they? Killing the hell out of them. You know what I'm saying? What was he working on? Most High Christ. Most High Christ. Any questions online? All right.
Lord Christ, I made not a breakdown on Matthew 18, chapter 18, verses 3 through 6, of Kishar, water, and Shalom.
All right, you gonna grab it? You get with you?
Matthew 18, verses 3 through 6.
Okay, I got it, sir. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 18, and verse 3.
Uh-huh.
And said, verily, I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven.
What Christ is trying to show us is a path to getting into the kingdom of heaven. One of the main things that destroyed us to get in the kingdom of heaven is our carnal pride. That's why we follow the religions of the other nations. When you follow the religions of the other nations, it's mostly because you're proud, because your people are destroyed. So it don't feed your pride to serve your people, but it does feed your pride to put on a suit and to pretend to be a Christian and to act as though, you are worthy and you are, better than thou. Christians are famous for saying, you're going to go to hell, which there is no physical hell. Famous for acting as though they're saved. Even the words "I'm saved" is an abomination, in that Christ said, he that endureth to the end shall be saved. So for you to think you're saved is an evil thing to do. You're saved from what? The hell and destruction is still coming. But in these religions, we're proud. We're proud. We join Islam and act like Islam is the way and hate our own people. We take on the Bible, on the Quran, and we become fellows with the Arabs and not with our own people. So Christ is trying to say here, except you be converted. And here's the key word, converted. What do you have to be converted from? You got to be converted from them lies that you living in, them religious lies you're in that made you proud, that made you think you were great. Christ was teaching, and the brothers and sisters that hated him went to the Sadducees and Pharisees in the temple and said, yo, man, you know that there's a guy standing on the street teaching all kinds of things out of the scriptures and doing miracles, because they were proud. They loved the Sadducees and Pharisees. They loved the power they was in. They loved the fact that they was sitting in the high seats and had a great temple and had a relationship with the Romans. So they went and told them, look, man, Christ, what is he doing out there? Who is that guy? And that's also why they challenged him with questions. They tried to come up against him because, of course, he wasn't of the acceptable order. He was the rebel against the order. So Christ was telling us, man, unless you become like a little child, how are children? Children misbehave. Then they get corrected. And then what do? They learn from that correction and start to walk in the right way. By the time they become an adult, they're in most cases, the way that you raised them up. Nowadays, it's a lot different, of course, because you got TV teaching them 24/7 and the internet how to be evil. So Christ was saying, man, unless you become like this little child where you can forgive. You see how children forgive? They fight 1 minute, then they forgive each other. They do something wrong, get punished. They be crying 1 minute, and then they get punished, and right after that, they go back to playing. That's how we to become, man. We to forgive each other. We to stop our sinning and become brand new. We to become like them little children. Otherwise, we ain't gonna enter in the kingdom of heaven. You keep that spirit that you in the world. You keep that spirit that's in the world. You keep that pride, then you're not entering in the kingdom of heaven. Read verse 4.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 18, and verse 4. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child.
You humble yourself as this little child. He's pointing to a small child, like a young teenager that's standing there. Young child. He said, if you shall humble yourself like this little child, because they was proud. And we in that same proud world. You understand? We in that same proud world. If this building was laced with gold and diamonds and was 4 or 5 Rolls Royces out front and a couple of rappers or superstars in here, you wouldn't be able to get in the door because everybody would be able to feed their pride for wealth, their pride for power, their pride for fame. You'd be able to feed your pride in here, so you'd come in here. You wouldn't get the knowledge. You wouldn't care what's being taught in here. You would come in here and get and have your pride fulfilled. But in the truth, your pride doesn't get fulfilled. The truth about you gets fulfilled, which means what? You got to humble yourself to become brand new. You got to take the low. That's why he's saying, whosoever, 4th verse, whosoever therefore shall humble themselves as this little child. I appreciate it. As this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. I didn't mean to take it from you, Salaki. The Lord said the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. That humility to this truth, that bowing your head to this work of the Lord and not to what's in the world and not to what feeds you. That's why it says in Revelation, these are they who love not their lives even unto death, because they didn't put their lives first. They put the truth first. Right. They put that first. And you got to be that kind of person. You got to put the truth first, and then guess what? You'll be ready for the kingdom of heaven. But if you like these religions out here, if you like people in the world out here, you're gonna fill yourself with pride, and it's gonna stop you. Go ahead. What verse you at?
Verse 4, sir.
Go ahead.
All right. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Verse 5, and whoso shall receive one such little child and my name receiveth me.
That's right. You receive one of these children in Christ's name, you receive Christ. And let me tell you something. Right now, to receive Christ, you got to humble yourself in the Isupk.
Right.
You can't just because you claim to be a servant of Christ don't mean you get accepted like a little child. You got to come in the truth to be accepted as a little child. You understand? Because a lot of people are like charlatans. They think, well, I believe in Jesus. Well, I believe, I'm a Muslim, but I believe that Jesus was a prophet. So that means you're supposed to get accepted. You're supposed to get in the kingdom of heaven. No, it don't work that way. You got to humble yourself like a child. And in the Isupk, the Lord raised this school up, this nation up, for you to become a part of it. If you don't want to humble yourself to that, then you are fighting against Christ. You are fighting against your own pride. Your own pride is seducing you to rebel against the truth. And that's where you get fake Israelite groups. You get all kinds of stuff out of that. You get it out of that because, once again, they don't want to humble themselves, which we should all do. We all going to humble ourselves in that day. As we get closer to the end, we're going to be humble because we're going to see horrible things in this earth that's going to humble us to where we need to be at as a people. Go ahead, Al.
If I could,
Please.
My time being in the truth and being able to take the back seat most of the majority of the time, that's what I like to do. And when like debates is happening, or like when in the round, like being able to see like Captain Cesario, and his whole crew that he does that debates, especially on Clubhouse. One thing that I realized Israelites that's outside of this school, when they try to debate, they can never talk good or try to debate about brotherhood. Because in order for you to debate about brotherhood, you'll be cutting yourself. And I've seen it so many times. I mean, imagine how they I know this, and then when they get to that brotherhood scripture, it'll be like, so you're supposed to, your brother. And so then it's like, we just sitting there, you got cancers everywhere. I'm sitting on the stage, and it's like, come on, man, what you about to try to defend means that your whole campus shouldn't even be in existence.
I hear you. That's heavy. And let me tell you something. Not everybody, but some of them cats that try to debate Captain Cesario, it's righteous that the Lord have them get smashed. And I'm going to tell you why. Because some of them, especially in, all these different religions, they debating Cesario for their pride's sake. They're not really debating. Many of them are debating him really to understand knowledge and believe they know something better. But a lot of them are just proud. Like they just want to come up against him because they just want to test their skills or their ability to see if they got it. So they're going to come up against him in battle, and the Lord smashes them every time. And that's right that it happens because you're doing it for the wrong reason, for an evil reason, because of your pride. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. What verse you in?
We are in verse 6, sir.
Go ahead.
All right. We're in the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 6. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Right. A millstone is a big old wheel they use, and that they grind down meal with it, okay, or use it for other grinding things, a real heavy shaved down stone. And so he's saying it's better that was hung around your neck than you to offend one of these little ones. Meaning Christ cares about the brothers and sisters in the truth. You understand? He cares about them. And if you coming up against them, you should be aware why you coming up against them. If you coming up against them for pride's sake, then it's better you had that millstone around your head, because the Lord gonna come and deal with you because of those offenses that you bring. So I hope that answers the question. If you got, it should answer the question for everybody. If it doesn't, put it in the comments. Any other questions? Okay, let's roll them right quick.
Officer Awarya, sorry.
Big shout out to Officer Warrior. Good, huh?
Revelation 12:3, kind of break down on the 10 horns and 7 kingdoms. And how does that relate to World War III?
Okay. I'm gonna definitely rock that out in 2 minutes. Give me the one after that, because I'm gonna give him a whole lot in Revelations 12. So if the other one is shorter, I'll do that first, and then we'll rock out Revelation 12.
So this is from Natsuza Navar.
Okay.
Slocky General, could a precept for saying I'm saved be like Ezekiel 13:10, saying,
Go ahead.
saying peace and there is no peace?
Yeah, you absolutely right. It does fit in. It's two different things, but it does fit with the same spirit on the person. You understand? Saying peace, peace, and there is no peace. They're saying peace, peace, because they're proud against the Lord. You understand? They're proud against the Lord, saying peace, peace, when there is no peace. You understand? And what was the first part he said? Could it be compared to?
Slocky General, could a precept for saying I'm saved?
Right. So the I'm saved is perfect, because they're proud and there is no safety, and they're saying they're saved and they're not saved. So yeah, that can be put together. Same spirit, two different type of incidents, same spirit. The Lord said one of the 6 things he hates is a proud look. The Lord you're flesh and blood. You're a flesh and blood human being. You get sick, you get ill, you get depressed. You understand? You get hurt. All the things that a human does. But men in their pride create all types of gods and create themselves as a god in some cases. You understand? When you are none of those things, when what you should be is humble before the Most High power that's above you, man. You understand? That's why the Lord said in the scriptures that the Lord, the height of the heavens cannot lay out I'm paraphrasing, cannot lay out how high the Lord is above you. The Most High is way, way above you. So you need to have humility. So what the brother said is right. To even believe that you're saved or believe is peace and safety, sudden destruction, because you don't control those things, man. The Lord controls those things, which is why you should obey it. Like we wouldn't be in captivity and we wouldn't be in poverty and on drugs and locked up in prisons and in absolute hell with broken families and the likes if we had obeyed the Lord. But our pride made us not obey the Lord. When we came out of Egypt and we were in the wilderness, Moses went up on the mountains to get the tablets from the Lord. Show you how bad shape we was in. We was in bad shape when we came out of Egypt. Moses went up on the mountain, man, and was getting those tablets from the Lord. Now, we had seen miracles. We had seen the great things the Lord did. And the minute he went up in there, they said, man, let's build a golden calf, man. We don't know where Moses at. Why did they want to build a golden calf? Why didn't they build a calf out of clay or cut a calf out of wood? Why did they want to build a golden calf? Because a golden calf would have gave them the pride they want. They didn't want a God that just did miracles and told them to be humble. They wanted a God that was made of gold, that they could big him up, that they could show themselves proud to him. And they ended up dead, man, because of it. The Lord slaughtered tens of thousands of us because of how wicked we was in that wilderness, man. You understand? Go ahead,
If I could, sir, that's how you know the Bible is
the real deal.
talking about us.
Yes.
Because when you look at that story, like when you were just explaining, I was like, man, I can imagine the Most High doing that, taking us from our captivity, trying to bring us back home, and we traveling, and I can see people trying to do that exact same thing.
Yeah.
Instead of them being like, Lord, the Most High just dealt with us, did all these miraculous works, and you know what I'm saying? Because again, like,
Because of pride. Like we got no loyalty to the Most High. That's our problem. Remember when Christ healed, you go back and read the story, when Christ healed the 10 lepers, One came back. The other 9 didn't come back. And Christ asked, where's the other 9? He already knew where they were. He said, where's the other 9 at? He was making a point for these records that we didn't appreciate nothing the Lord did for us. We didn't appreciate nothing. We so proud. We think we did it. We think we accomplished it. You understand? We think we did these things. And so we don't have no humility that the Lord did these things. So we don't have no idea that we owe the Lord for these things that he did for us. You understand? Salaki, you got it? That we owe the Lord for these things that he did for us. You know what I'm saying? That we don't have no conscience for the things that are done to us. We got to be retaught it all again. And that's what Christ was trying to get us to see in that same Matthew 18th chapter. He was trying to let us see that you're going to have to humble yourself like this child. You're going to have to get off of your pride, off of your own self-will and what you think and how you feel. So yeah, that's a good scripture. And what happened in coming out of Egypt is perfect. And that's what happens to a people when they're in captivity under another nation. If you're in captivity under another nation, that nation teaches you to be proud with nothing. That nation teaches you to be proud and selfish, man. Good to see you, Ward. That nation teaches you to be proud and selfish with nothing so that you can be proud about nothing. And then we got out in the wilderness, and to us, making a golden calf was a big deal, okay, when it was not. So was that it? Was that the question?
That was the question.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take 1 or 2 more, and then I'm going to jump into Revelation 12 so I can get to that 3rd verse, all right?
So this is from Dakaya.
Okay.
So, sir, can I get a breakdown of Hebrews 13, chapter 13, verses 10 through 14?
Let's go there.
On the sacrifice being burned without the camp.
Where we going?
Hebrews chapter 13, verse 10 through 14. Specifically, on the sacrifice being burned without the camp. That's an 11.
Yeah, let me go up above it.
This is the book of Hebrews 13, verse 10. We have an altar.
Wait a minute. Go above it.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Okay.
Start at 9.
Ooh, it's so good. Let's start at 8.
8, countdown. This is the book of Hebrews 13, verse 8. Jesus Christ, the same yesterday and today and forever. Verse 9. Be not carried about with divers and strange doctrines, for it is a good thing that the heart be established with grace.
Right. Don't be carried away with strange doctrines and strange religions that fill you full of pride. Go ahead.
Not with meats.
Not with meats. Like don't let meats carry you away. Meaning rich food, living deliciously. You understand? Meats was not as a big thing in when you free as it is when you're in captivity. In captivity, they give you as much meat as they can because, of course, you're a slave. So they want to keep you strong and happy and dumb. So they filling you up with meats. Not so much anymore, but at one time, meat was everywhere. Most nations don't eat meat every day, but we eat meat every day, sometimes 2-3 times a day. They make sure of that because they want a happy slave, a willing, strong slave. You understand? But Paul said, don't get caught up into the meats, man. Go ahead.
Which have not profited them that have been occupied therein.
It didn't profit them that occupied therein. Thanksgiving don't profit nobody. Right. That turkey get worshipped like it's a god. They talking about they have whole 20, 30 TV shows in the morning about how to cook the turkey. You're gonna see that all next month. How to cook the turkey, how to cook the ham, what to have in the turkey, what you should have with the turkey, when to eat the turkey, how to eat the turkey, who should be there when you eat the turkey, what to do with the leftovers. You know what I'm saying? Like it'd be a full turkey worship. And that's what Paul was saying, that those that's occupied within it, man, are not, and it's metaphoric in that meats being religions and actual physical meats. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Verse 30. We have an altar.
We have an altar. That altar is our King Yahushua. He's our altar, is what Paul's trying to say. Don't go looking for another altar to worship on. Go ahead.
Whereof they have no right to eat which serve the tabernacle.
Right. They that serve the tabernacle don't have a right to eat. And that's also metaphoric in that when you work in the temple, when you were a Levite and you worked in the temple, you understand, what was going on the altar, you couldn't eat. There was a portion given to the Levites, but that meat that was going on the altar, you couldn't eat that meat. That meat, you was not worthy to eat that meat. That meat was sacrificed to the Most High. And he's saying the same now, that Christ is now that altar. And those that's sitting there as priests, they not worthy to eat that meat. He was talking about them Sadducees and Pharisees, same like we talk about the Christians and Muslims today. They not worthy to sit there and eat that meat. Let's read on.
Okay. Verse 11. For the bodies of those beasts whose blood is brought into the sanctuary by the high priest for sin are burned without the camp.
Meaning they brought to the high priest for sin offerings. Those things are burned. Don't nobody eat those things. They put them on the altar and they burn them. Okay. So they put on the altar outside without the camp, meaning outside of where the people dwell. And they burn the sacrifice. And then they burn that sacrifice outside the temple and do away with it because it's sacrificed to the Lord. They don't eat it themselves, okay? Same is supposed to apply today. Those priests that was serving during the time of the temple and the ones today, they're not worthy to eat of this meat, okay? Go ahead. But Christ did say we were, because he said, this is my body. This is as often as you will, do it in remembrance of me. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 12. Wherefore, Jesus also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood.
Right. Him also. Meaning he got killed outside. God, when you go and look physically where they sacrificed Christ, they sacrificed him in an area called Golgotha, some Greek word. I don't know it off the top of my head. But it's the place where people were crucified. They had tons of crosses, a big ass field out there. And they got tons of crosses, like a cemetery on. But with crosses where they kill you at, and then they take you off the cross and bury you. So, and it's outside the walls of Jerusalem. It's not inside the camp. It's outside the camp. And so Paul is saying Christ, the same way, was taken outside of our camp and sacrificed, on the cross. Meaning he was that same meat that was on the altar that the priest of the tabernacle was unworthy of. And so Christ is the sacrifice that, guess what? We, unless we come into the truth, are unworthy of. We're not worthy of eating that meat. Go ahead.
Oh God.
Read the whole 13th again.
Oh God, this is the book of Hebrews 13, verse 13. Let us go forth, therefore, into him.
Unto him.
Oh, Lord, sir.
That's all right.
Let us go forth, therefore, unto him without the camp.
Right. He's saying now now that we got the truth, let's go forth onto him. Let's leave the camp, or more deeper understanding. Let's leave these carnal people's mind, and let's go now and become just like Christ. Let's come now and be sacrifices for his kingdom. You understand? Go ahead.
Being bearing his reproach.
Bearing his reproach, meaning we bearing the cross that he bared. He was reproached. He was hated. That's how he ended up getting innocently killed, because he was hated by the Sadducees and Pharisees, because he was wiser than them and he was doing miracles and he was called by the Lord and he was the Lord's chosen. But what were they? Another good lesson. They were proud. They were proud. They didn't want to hear that this cat from Nazareth was doing miracles and was getting more popular than them, more famous than them. They were like, hold up, man. Remember when Caiaphas said, what do we do? For this man doeth many miracles, and all people will believe on him. So they didn't want the people to turn now to Christ. So they reproached Christ. They made Christ something evil. They accused him of being a criminal. So then, because they did all that, he ended up getting crucified wrongfully. Well, Paul is saying, let's go with him. Let's go with him without the cap, bearing his reproach. Let's carry the same hatred he had. We're going to carry that same hatred, which is why the brothers is hated on the street. You're not hated on the street because of the way you dress. You're not hated on the street because of the color of your skin. You're not hated on the street because of your jackets or how much money you got. You ain't hated for that. You hated on the street because of what you said. What's coming out your mouth is what came from Christ, the truth. And that's why you hate it. And that's why and that's why Paul said, we'll bear his reproach. Let's go out to camp bearing his reproach. Let's separate from the mindset of these people, of our people, and we'll be hated the same way to bring forth the truth. Was that the verse he asked about 13?
He asked about 11.
Oh, okay. I went on for a couple more
No,
extra
he
verses.
wanted to bring up 2:14.
Oh, 2:14. Okay, let's keep going.
For this is the last verse.
Okay.
14. For here have we no continual city, but we seek one to come.
And that's heavy too. Now he's in Jerusalem telling them this. Okay. It says, for here have we no continuing city. Meaning here, this city we sitting in, this place we in, this place is about to be destroyed. They reproach Christ, and they're going to be just like that sacrifice. They're going to be thrown outside the new city, the new camp. So he said, here we have no continuing city, but we do seek one to come, which is the kingdom of heaven that Yahanna is going to build. We do seek that one. That one is going to come. But this one right here, this one is no continuing city. This place is going to be destroyed. So he said, let's go out and stand with him, which is the same for right now. Right now, we should be preparing to leave this place and not trying to join this place. More we put our spirit in this place, like the scripture said, he that loveth this world, the love of this world is enmity with the Lord. That's why when you come to serve the Most High in the truth, you're going to have needs and you're going to suffer different things, especially all type of things that you may never have suffered before or never experienced before. But you have to put your mindset to say, look, whatever comes along, I'm going to navigate it. I'm not going to let it pull me away, because there's things out here that Satan knows you love that he seeks to pull you away with. If you was a up and coming rapper in the world and you come into truth, he's going to try to give you some opportunities for you to go back to trying to become a rapper so you could leave the truth. If you was a corporate raider or businessman or some, I don't know, military superstar killing all the heathens, he gonna look for opportunities for you so that you could be lured back to the world, away from the truth. And which is why you can't do that. You got to be like, look, I'm going to take the reproach of Christ. I'm going to be hated and whatever else that comes with it. And I'm going to navigate it with me and my brothers. And we're going to carry this truth on until we can get the hell up out of here, until Christ returns and gets us out of here. You understand? Go ahead, Al.
If I could do a shameless plug.
Please.
Captain Cod, let it be known that Hebrew Academy will be coming up soon. I believe the next Passover, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The brothers is the one to stand. For sure, Hebrew Academy will get all of that worldly wants out of you, for sure. You know what I mean?
Yep. Hebrew Academy is going to be a beautiful experience and a beautiful chance for you to, damn right, and a beautiful chance for brothers and sisters to escape the world, to get away from the spirit of this world and walk with the Most High in that spirit. So yeah, that's tight. All right. So I think does that answer that for him? You got any other ones? Because I'm going to jump. If not, I'm going to Revelation 12. But if you got anything else, we'll do that, huh?
We do, but
Yeah, come on with it. How many more you got? Let me just gauge it.
Okay, we got one
Let's just do this one then, and we'll see how long that takes.
telephone.
All right, let's go.
Telephone. This is stop it, sir. This is from Kimmy.
Okay.
Sloppy Commander Journey Yahanna. What will happen to a Hebrew Israelite who doesn't make it into the kingdom? What land will they go to when everyone else has to go back to their designated place?
Okay, all Israel is going to end up in the kingdom of heaven, but all Israel will not be on the top of the kingdom of heaven. So if you don't make it into the kingdom of heaven in the first time, you'll be born back into the kingdom of heaven, but you will not have the same rulership. You will have blown your chance to rule the world. That's why David said, if he had to, he said, I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the kingdom of heaven. Because there's going to be brothers that's not going to have the power of brothers that sacrifice for the Lord. They still the bloodline of Israel, so they're going to make it into the nation in the kingdom when the kingdom is set up, but they're going to have no power in that kingdom. They're going to have no power at all. You brothers that you see that are great and powerful in this world doing evil, them brothers they're going to be around, but they're going to be on the bottom of the kingdom. Like this world is perfectly upside down. The brothers that come into the truth have a spirit on them to rule the world. They just don't know it because you've been a slave your whole life. So you don't know what's inside you that brought you into this truth and made you strong. But when Christ returned, Christ gonna put a crown on your head and give you a seat high in the kingdom of heaven. You're gonna be like, me? You're gonna be like, yeah, you take that crown and go rule over there. And you're gonna be in that power. But now the brothers in here that's out here in this world who are proud, who think they know better, who are harming and killing at their wits to gain and be successful, thinking they can do it. When the kingdom come around, Christ gonna say, you was unworthy. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. You gotta take your seat at the bottom. Now the bottom is still gonna be great compared to the other nations, but it's gonna be in the bottom of the kingdom. You understand? So they'll still get into our land, but they'll have no power, to answer Kimmy's question. All right? And I could give you a scripture on it if you want. Might take a second, but to just read through it. Let me just see. You holding anything else? Just trying to gauge this time. Go ahead.
Two questions.
Come on with it. So if Kimmy needs me to give an actual scripture on it, I could give it to her. I just gave it a layman's answer. But go ahead.
Officer Makaba, looks like Macabre.
Macabre. Big shout out to Macabre and the new baby.
Shalom. How about Shalom Shabbat General? Can I get a breakdown on the son of perdition and how it ties into Christ's return from World War III?
Okay, beautiful, because that lines right up with the 12. Let's get it. Yeah, just search it out. Perdition. We got a couple of them you can go to. Yeah, 2 and 3. That's probably the one to take you right to it. It's quite a few of them, but.
All right, come on, sir. I have it.
Yep.
It's the book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means.
Let no man deceive you. Let no man take this truth from you. You found something that's great, that's going to add to your life, make you strong, give you wisdom, show you the future, and deliver you into the kingdom of heaven. Don't let anybody steal it from you. Don't let anybody con you out of it. Don't let anybody lie to you and run you out the truth. Let no man deceive you by any means. Go ahead.
For that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first.
Meaning that day is not going to come until you see some death and destruction. It ain't gonna come like the Christians say. It ain't gonna come like, sweet and wonderful. And in that destruction, some are gonna fall away. Some are gonna get weak. Some are gonna get fooled. Well, what Paul is saying here is don't let nobody deceive you and drag you away with their madness when they fall away or when they get destroyed. We see it in here all the time. People in here brothers, sisters, come in the truth for a little while, learn the truth, learn everything, go back into the world, end up dead. If you're dumb enough to follow them, you could end up harmed too. I pray not for neither of you. But the reality is, once you put down the wisdom the Lord gave you, the Lord said, first of all, 7 demons take hold of you. That's number one. Then you go out wandering, looking for that death that you was on before. And you find it very quickly in many cases. When we get cleaned up from the sins we've had, we sometimes forget that we were a filthy sinner. And as a result, we start now to walk around like, I'm great and I'm good and I'm a righteous person and I'm this and I'm that. And before you know it, you done puffed yourself up right into not listening to the Lord no more. And then you walk out there in the world and destroy yourself. Well, Paul is saying, don't let nobody carry you into that. Don't let nobody gas you up to leave this truth, man. Go ahead.
Come. And that man of sin be revealed.
And there's a man in this earth that is all about sin. Pushing sin, teaching sin, lifting up sin. All of that is going on. And that man has everybody believing he's not that man of sin. That's why it says has to be revealed. He got everybody believing he don't exist. And guess where he mostly has people believing he don't exist? In you. You don't believe you're a sinner. He got you fooled that you ain't a sinner. You know what I mean? Like he passes laws and said men who love other men should be allowed to love each other. There's no way that God is against love. And if you listen to that nonsense, you'll be carried away. If you got a demon on you that, loves to rob people, you love it. It's, you love the thrill of it. You love the spirit of it. And then he come along and say, listen, robbing somebody is not really a bad thing. It's better than murdering. And you fall for it, you're going to get seduced back into robbing people. So the Lord is saying, when you come into the truth and you learn this truth, you got to become a strong-minded brother or sister. You got to look at this for yourself, learn it, understand it, and then you committed to it not because another man's committed to it. You committed to it because you found the truth. You understand? That man, no other man can bring you in the kingdom. He can just help you get there. But you got to have the faith to go into the kingdom of heaven. So you got to put this in you for yourself, and then you'll be strong to not be fooled and overthrown by him. Read on.
In the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2.
Last end.
Verse 3 at the end.
That's right.
And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
The son of perdition, meaning the son of hell. He's the son. He's the one that, brings hell on everybody. Okay. He's the one that brings eternal pain and suffering on everybody. I'm gonna get the actual definition. The definition is a state of eternal punishment and damnation into which a sinful and unrepentant person passes after death. Now that's the Christian theology way of writing, but this is not after death. That's not in that scripture. This is not after death. This is before death. That's them thinking that, there's purgatory. You heard of purgatory before and all this Christian stuff. Catholic stuff, that's where they off at. But the word itself is like it brings out a state of eternal punishment. Like this is a man that is constantly bringing sin on the earth, constantly bringing sin in you, constantly convincing the world to go towards wickedness. And he's the son of perdition, meaning he is working directly under Satan. And who we know who that man is, right? Esau.
Right.
Esau. Okay. So that's it on that. You got one more, and then I got Revelation 12, right? Come on.
This is Mashab Ben Yahanna, Slaki Adawan, Bo Kishore. If I may, can you give a breakdown from 2 Kings 22 verses, chapter 22 verses 10 through when you want to stop? How much should this be the spirit we have today?
All right, let's see if I can get with you.
2 Kings chapter 22 and verse
2 Kings chapter 22. And what verse?
10. And verse 10.
And verse 10. Go ahead.
This is the book of 2 Kings 22 and verse 10. And Shaphan,
Yep.
the scribe, shewed the king, saying, Hilkiah,
Yep.
the priest, hath delivered me a book. And Shaphan read it before the king. Verse 11. And it came to pass, when the king had heard the words of the book of the law, that he rent his clothes.
Right. So the scribe delivered it to his man. Okay. The scribe came and handed him the records of the Most High. And he was the priest at the time. Okay. And he came before the king. The reason the scribe was bringing it, if you read up above the story, is because ultimately the Lord wanted to get this king straightened out. So he was coming to check him over this thing. So anyway, he read the book before the king. And he rent his clothes. Renting your clothes is a custom in Israel. It's tearing your garments. And you tear your garments like in disgust of a horrible thing. Like a horrible thing happened. It's like the way we vent the rage of what has happened. It's almost like bearing your soul because of what's happened. It's a custom of ours. We just rip our garment apart right there. When they say rent, that means to rip it. All right. 12th verse.
Verse 12. And the king commanded Hilkiah the priest, and Ahikam the son of Shaphan, and Akbor the son of Micaiah, and Shaphan the scribe, and Isaiah a servant of the king, saying, verse 13, Go ye, inquire of the Lord for me and for the people.
And this was a righteous dude, at least in this statement here. I haven't read the whole story on him right now. But this cat right here was a righteous brother in this act right here. He saw how Israel was messed up and got the records and everything, and they laid the whole records out. And he realized what's in these records is not what the hell we doing. This is totally off. And for the brother that asked, so who asked that question? Because that was Mashab Ben Yahanna. That was a good question in this respect, Mashab. You asked the question whether or not it is like us today. It's exactly like us today. That's why Christ said, and that's good insight, meaning this. Christ said, read of the book, for it's written of me. I'm paraphrasing. Said it's written about me. We reading about it right here. This cat right here is having an experience exactly how Christ required us to have. This cat here is about to be born again. The nation was going off, doing sin, doing evil. They showed him the records out, and he repented. He's like, yo, go and find out from the Lord what he wants done. Let's get right. That's really how you come into the truth and be born again. Not that singing nonsense in church. Right. But really opening up the records, seeing these records, and now saying, yo, I'm not going to live the way we living in the world. That's dead wrong. I'm going to come into this truth and live the way we're supposed to live in this truth. That's how I'm going to live. And then he changed his life. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to come into the truth, man. Realize after reading these records and reading this history, we're supposed to realize, yo, we're slaves. We don't even know we're slaves. We're supposed to be like, yo, we're slaves. What the hell? Let's go back to following the Lord. Let's do what he says, man, so we can get out of here. Let's wake up all the brothers and sisters, man. Bring them back to Yahushua so we can get out this kingdom. That's what's supposed to be inside us. That's what's supposed to be motivating us. Okay, not our own pride, like we read earlier, but to take on that spirit and to get away from it all, this evil place, and to be the men and women of the Lord. So this is what he did. I'm gonna just go another verse or so. But he turned around and said, go now, you know, and inquire of the Lord, meaning ask the Lord what he wants us to do. How do we fix this? How do we correct this? Tell them where you at and read on.
Oh God, verse 2, verse 13. Go ye, inquire of the Lord for me and for the people and for all Judah concerning the words of this book that is found. For great is the wrath of the Lord that is kindled against us, because our fathers have not hearkened unto the words of this book.
Right. They found the records. He said, man, this book that was found, meaning found because nobody knew what was going on with it. Nobody was following it. Nobody was doing it. Just like today, the book is around, but ain't nobody doing what the book said. That's why they're having a war right now in the Middle East, because what's happening? Right now in the Middle East, they're at war. And that war that they're having right now in the Middle East is over religion. It's over Christianity, over Judaism, it's over Islam. They both heathens, but they worshiping two gods, and both gods are false. And we following behind them, following their gods. Now the book is found. Now these records are open. Now this book is ready to be spread throughout the whole world. Come on with it. I'll go a little long. What verse you in?
Still 13, sir.
Go ahead.
Because our fathers have not hearkened unto the words of this book, to do according unto all that which is written concerning us.
Mm-hmm. That's it. I think that's it right there, because it goes into the sister and all of that and how they go on, and you can read down and realize how they, tried to fix it, how they tried to set these priests up and get everybody back in order. Same thing we doing today. You reading an account of a brother coming out the world and into the truth under Yahushua. Only it was before Yahushua even got here. Same story. That's the story of our life. Story of our life has been, man, we sin as a people against the Lord. He destroys us every single time. Every time we sin against the Lord, he comes and destroys us. Every time. And so as we sin against the Lord and he destroys us, then we repent, because we get wiped the hell out. When he destroys us bad. And then we go back to the Lord and cry to the Most High and beg to the Lord. And because we do it, the Lord has mercy on us, brings us back. That's why that's why Christ said, lest you be as these little children. Unless you humble yourself and recognize your sins so that you can become brand new and be healed and turn back to your Father in heaven and your King Yahushua, then guess what? You're going to remain in that sin and your pride, and it's going to destroy you, man. It's going to wipe you out. It's going to wipe you out. Pride is one of the 6 things the Lord hates.
Right.
So that should answer that. So we solid. I can go to Revelation. Let's go to Revelation 12. Answer the brother's question. We'll start at 1, all right?
Revelation chapter 12, verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun.
A woman clothed with the sun. This woman is the children of Israel. And it was a wonder in heaven. The reason why it's a wonder, because nobody believed that this woman would ever appear. The Lord is using a metaphor for John. John the Revelator, just so everybody that may not know, John the Revelator is in prison on the island of Patmos, which is in the Greek Isles. And I believe it's in the Greek Isles. The territories might have changed by now. But anyway, he's on this island in prison, kind of like being in Alcatraz prison in San Francisco. So while he's in this prison, the Lord is giving him visions of the future, because Jerusalem is getting ready to be destroyed. All Israel is getting ready to be wiped out. But the Lord is showing him the future for us to learn from that future, because of the Most High's mercy on our soul. So in this vision, he sees a woman, and she's like a wonder in heaven. She's a mystery to the people who are ruling the earth. They're looking at her like, who is this woman? Who is this? And that's how they're going to look at you. They're going to look at you when you start to become the people of God. They're going to look at you like a wonder. Like, what are these niggas doing? What are these Latinos or whatever they call us, wetbacks, spits, all the names? They're going to be like, what are they doing? They're going to be shocked to see the North American Indian come off them reservations, learn the truth, put their garments back on, start speaking Hebrew, start digging up their records. A ton of their records that in the languages they speak are really Hebrew with a heavy new accent or dialect to it. And they're going to start deciphering it after a while. Wait till they crack these records open. Everybody going to be seeking their God out as we get closer to the end. Because everybody's going to be wondering what the hell is going on and is their God right? So they're going to be searching. And as they search it, they're going to wake up. And the Lord going to do miracles among them too. And we're going to do miracles. We're going to raise the dead, heal people, all that. And as we begin to do these things for brothers and sisters, they're going to begin to wake up. And we're going to be a wonder to the other nations. And they say in heaven, it's talking about the rulers of the earth. All the rulers in the great countries, they're going to be like, America, what's going on with your black people and your Latinos? Why are they acting like that? Why are they dressing like that? Why are they talking like that? Why are they doing these things? What is going on? They're not following you anymore. It's like a wonder. All the leaders are going to be talking about it. Go ahead.
And the sun.
A woman clothed with the sun. Go ahead. You want to read it? Go ahead. Salah.
And the moon under her feet.
No, go above it. Read.
Oh, God. A woman clothed with the sun.
Right. When they say clothed with the sun represents wisdom in this instant. The sun represents wisdom, meaning she's clothed with wisdom. Why is she clothed with wisdom? What did the Lord say would be our wisdom? Go ahead,
The law, statutes, and commandments.
So when they see this woman, which is us, clothed with the sun, what is that going to mean about us?
That we're shining.
But shining meaning what? It don't mean we're going to literally shine. We ain't going to put no Vaseline on. We're going to be shining, but what does it mean?
We're going to be righteous. We're going to be in our righteousness as a nation.
We're going to be walking in them laws, statutes, and commandments. You're right. You're absolutely right. Go ahead, Don. Absolutely. Absolutely. I go one more. I add one more for you. He said, let there be light. You know what I'm saying? Let there be wisdom in this earth, in this dark void. Let's bring wisdom into this void. You understand? So we were clothed with it. When they say clothed with it, meaning we lived like you put clothes on to represent you. When you go into the club, you get dressed up, you put your fly on because you want to pull all the ladies and you want to look good and you representing. That's what we were doing with the truth. We was representing. We had our garments on, breaking down scriptures, showing brotherhood and sisterhood. We was in the spirit of Christ. We was coming together. You understand? Getting ready to be delivered up out of here. So we was a mystery. So go after sun. Go ahead.
And the moon under her feet.
And the moon represents understanding. Okay? So they said the moon was under her feet. Okay? When something is under your feet, what are you doing with it? Good. Mm-hmm. Absolutely right. What was we standing on? No. Stop playing. Go ahead,
Standing on the truth.
Yes, we were standing on understanding of the truth. This is what we walking on now. We weren't walking on ignorance no more. We now walking on wisdom now and understanding now. Now we in our right mind. We know what we do. We ain't doing stupid stuff. We walking with an understanding of right and wrong. Walking with an understanding of brotherhood. Walking with an understanding of what the Lord wants. Walking with an understanding of our King Yahanna. We walking in that right spirit. You see what I'm saying? With understanding. Go ahead.
God, sir. And upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
And upon her head, a crown of 12 stars. You know who that is, right? That's right. The 12 lost tribes of the children of Israel. The Lord called them a crown, okay, with 12 stars shining. We was in our best in this verse, second verse.
And she being with child cried.
And you know what that means, right? She being with child. What does that mean? Go ahead, Al.
Okay, so
First start off with what it means for any woman.
Pregnancy, right?
She's pregnant, right? What does it mean for us as a nation?
So as a nation, it's like we got this truth and we want to bring it out, the truth of Christ. And it's going to come, or the second coming of Christ, actually.
Yeah, there you go. You right there. Meaning she's with child, meaning we got this knowledge in us now. We pregnant with this knowledge. And now we ready to
wait for Christ to come back.
We ready to be delivered. We ready now to get delivered the hell up out of here. You see what I'm saying? Like we done found the truth now. We walking in wisdom. We following understanding. It's like, yo, now we ready to get up out of here. We ready for Christ to return. And that's why people don't understand when we saying about the Middle East and all of that, and this happening, that this is bringing us closer to having this child, or bringing us closer to Christ's return when we get to rule. Okay? Read, yes. Take it from the top of 12 real quick.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 2. And she being with child cried.
Right, she cried, meaning what we doing? Lord, come back, deliver us out of this hell. We crying for the Lord. We in the hospitals, we in the graveyards, we in the prisons, we on drugs. As a people, we crying for the Lord to come back. As we wake up and come into the truth, we're going to cry for him more to come back. We're going to be crying at every high holy day, meaning not literally crying with tears, but crying out for the Most High to return. Because they're going to get more evil, which is going to tell you this in the scripture. Go ahead.
Travailing in birth.
And travailing in birth. It's like when a woman is pregnant and she's having, it's coming that time to have birth, she goes through horrible pains. She goes through travails and travails and travails till finally the baby comes. So it said this woman is going through the same thing, talking about us, travailing in this birth, meaning as we go forward to get closer to the truth, they add more hell to us. They do more evil things to us. So every time we go to move forward with the truth or to bring Christ forth, they come with a backlash. They try to destroy the truth. They put out poisons and lies, pass new laws for all kinds of evil stuff. Watch, eventually they're going to pass a law that you could have a relationship with a child. That'll be another blow on us. They're gonna do it eventually. They working towards it. It already been introduced. Sometimes it's been introduced a couple of times already. They want to go back to the Roman Empire, Caligula. They want to go back to the days where they have totally free sex. They don't want any hindrance on sex, any hindrance on abortion. They want to be able to do whatever they want to do. So of course, as we getting closer to this truth and waking up, we go through more pains at the evil that they bring forth on us and their religions that they pour on us. Go ahead, Salah.
If I could, sir, I was like doing a deep investigation on child, what is it called? I'm trying not to get it blocked. People that are predators, right?
Right.
Children.
Right.
So after I watched the Sound of Freedom movie, it made me start doing some real investigation and certain things. And I came to find out that they made a bunch of bans on the internet that you can't talk about child predators, but you can't call them the B word. We got to censor what we say about that. And they actually got a whole bunch of communities. It's called MAPS, and that's a minor attracted people. And I couldn't
See all that, giving it names,
right, yeah.
giving it categories, creating groups, you know what I mean, passing rules to slow it down. All of that is them, once again, giving pains to us.
Right.
We going through pains trying to, because now you're going to have to protect your kids from somebody trying to have a relationship with your child. They'll pass laws that say, well, if they're in a relationship, you can't say nothing about it. They already passed certain laws that have your children where you don't have control over your children, where they, you know, and that's just one avenue. They'll pass all kinds of other laws that just make it so much harder for us to walk in the truth, for make it so much harder for us to help our brothers and sisters. They're gonna bear with me 1 second. They're gonna try to stop all those things if they can. If they can hold it down and stop it, they will, because they know at the end of this, we about to have this baby, and Christ about to return. So they trying to stop it every way they can. Go ahead, you was gonna say something smart.
Just real quick, I had shared this video where, you know, it was Edomites, but what happened was it was a bunch of things that was coming up about that whole pride community and how they are like the machine behind a bunch of like the feminist movement and abortions and things like that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They had the one little white young boy, he was like 11, 12 years old. I guess he was like the poster child for like the whole pride community. Literally had him on camera on ketamine. Literally, he's high on ketamine with another grown man dressed up in a wig.
Yeah.
Like that's
I mean, if they having drag shows with minor kids in Pampers, I mean, these is kids in Pampers running around, toddlers 1 or 2, and they bringing drag queens in some supposed desensitization thing to these kids. These people are monsters, man.
Right.
They're gonna go straight to the child molestation. So we trying to get delivered or going through that suffering real quick. Go ahead,
I just had a separate question on that. You know, Eve got the travail, I mean,
the pains coming to bring birth, right?
In kingdom, will that be lifted, or will they still have the pain?
Okay, I get that question all the time. Okay, that's a very good question. Now, if all the sins are wiped away, then I have to say no, because Christ is going to wipe the sins away. And that pain came because of Eve's sin. So if Christ wipes the sin away in the kingdom, it said we're going to be changed in a twinkling of an eye. So no, she's not going to have that pain no more. She's going to be good to go. I know some brothers want her to continue to have that pain. She better keep that pain. You know, they want to punish her regardless. But I got to tell you, in the kingdom, all sins will be wiped away. And so that will be wiped away as well. You know what I'm saying? So you got to pick your poison. The Lord wipe it away, but she's going to obey you for the rest of her life. So you got to take the good with the bad. Go ahead, Al. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. What verse you in?
Verse 2, sir.
Go ahead.
Start at the top again.
No. Take it to 3. You finished 2. You birth pain to be delivered.
And pain to be delivered.
Right. We're in pain to be delivered. We on drugs. We struggling. We trying to get to the truth, push the truth, raise brothers and sisters up. We in pain to be delivered. Fake Israelites bringing in Hamites and purple cats. Other cats making a cat of God, trying to drown the truth. Another group over here talking about you can rape kids and all that. They drowning in these lies. You understand? Drowning in these lies and trying to drown the truth. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven.
And also, when they looked at us and saw us coming up trying to come out of the truth, there was another wonder in this rulership, in this heaven. Go ahead.
And behold, a great red dragon.
A great red dragon. That great red dragon is Esau. He's the great red dragon. That's him, his armies, his philosophies. He's the great red dragon. Go ahead.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns. The 7 heads and 10 horns is who he ruled the world with. This is how he rules the world, okay? And I'll give you them all together, all right? You got England. This is the 7 heads. You got England. You got Spain. These are all Edomites. You got Portugal. You got Germany. You got Russia. You got France. And you got Italy. Those are your 7 heads. Now you got 10 horns. They're not a head, but they're a horn. These horns also fight with the 7 heads, for the 7 heads. And the 10 horns are the United States, Australia, Scotland, Ireland, Switzerland, Sweden, Denmark, Luxembourg, Netherlands, and Belgium. And these 10 make up the common market. They kind of turning into NATO now. Some are turning into NATO, some are being pushed out, but that's the main original common market, meaning these 10 got together and created the financial system to back up the 7 heads, meaning they helped structure the power of this beast. They work together to give him his economics, and they work together to give him military power. Okay, to answer that question on the 3rd verse. I'm, of course, going to go further, but that's the breakdown for the 7 heads and the 10 horns. If anybody needed, we could put it in the chat. All right. Go ahead, Al. You good? All right. Let's keep going.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head.
Right, and 7 crowns upon his head, because them 7 heads, those 7 countries, rule the world. They rule the entire world. Go ahead. And they're that red dragon. They're the one causing all the hell on this earth. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And this tail drew.
And his tail, go ahead.
Drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven.
And his tail part, meaning the very end of him, towards the end of his kingdom, he's going to destroy a 3rd part of the earth. He's going to destroy a 3rd part of all those that rule on the earth. And that's what he's doing now. Wiping out Africa, wiping out other countries. That's him in this end part. That's why it says tail. His tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven. I mean, he killed off and controlled a 3rd of the whole earth with his power. Go ahead.
And did cast them to the ground, to the earth.
And he cast them down to the earth. He destroyed them nations, Africa, the Caribbean. He destroyed a 3rd of this earth. Go ahead.
And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered.
And he stood before the woman, meaning this. He didn't physically stand before us, but what he did was he raised up Christianity before us. When he say he stood before us, meaning he stopped the truth. How did he stop the truth? Islam, Christianity, Roman Catholicism, Judaism, Buddhism. That's why he allows all these gods in this empire, because he's stopping the truth. He's standing before the truth. Go ahead.
Oh God, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
To kill Christ as soon as he's born. Kill him as soon as he's born in your mind, meaning the minute you learn the truth, he's dead. Your family come and say, what are you talking about, that crazy religion? Jesus is white. Jesus died for everybody. He's standing there to devour the child as soon as it's born. As soon as it's born in you, and he's there to physically devour Christ with his armies when he returns. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And she brought forth a man child.
But he couldn't stop this truth. He won't stop this truth. And it says she brought forth a man child. The truth came into the earth. Christ returned and came into the earth, okay? And we started to wake up. Go ahead.
Who was to rule all nations.
He was to rule all nations and will rule all nations. When it says he was to rule all nations, it's talking about them destroying us back during the time of Christ and the Romans. Okay, it's like metaphoric of him back then. So he is to rule all nations, but they sought to destroy it back then. But let's go on.
Who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron.
And that's how you're going to rule. Not by niceties and sweetness and gay pride parades.
Right.
He's going to rule with a rod of iron. He's going to rule with a scepter. When you say a rod of iron, it's talking about like a king's scepter. That rod that he has in his hand that gives him the authority, he's going to have this authority. But why? And reason it says with a rod of iron, meaning it's going to be a hard rulership on these nations. It's going to be hard like a piece of iron on these nations. They're going to be given laws, statutes, and commandments, and it's going to be severe punishments for anybody that rebels against them. Go ahead.
And her child was caught up unto God.
And her child was be caught up onto the Lord. You know what that means. When he died and went on that cross and was caught up to the Most High. Go ahead.
And to his throne.
What does the scripture say? That he sits on the right-hand side of the Most High. This is talking about that time when he was caught up to the throne. John is seeing all this happen before his eyes. He doesn't know what it is, but he's just seeing this event take place with this woman and with this child and seeing how this is unfolding. And he knows it means something significant because he's watching it happen in heaven. He's looking up and seeing it in heaven. So he knows this is something, but it was for our time for now. Tell them what verse you at.
Verse 6. And the woman fled into the wilderness.
And it said when the woman fled into the wilderness, what happened to us after Christ died?
70 AD.
Say again?
70 AD.
Yeah, Israel was destroyed. And what happened when we got destroyed?
We fled into Africa.
Don't think physical fled. We did physically fled. But this fled that he's talking about into the wilderness is really a different kind of fled. It's talking about us physically too, but it's talking about a different kind of fled. Go ahead.
Fled and hide behind the other ideologies and religions.
Kind of, yes, right. Let me make it clear. Meaning we left the truth and mixed into the world. Like when we left out, just like you saying, we left out and we mixed into the other nations. We mixed in among them. We fled into the wilderness. That wilderness is not talking about a wilderness in the woods. It's talking about a wilderness away from the truth. You understand? Because that dragon was trying to kill our son. And when our son being Christ, our king, when he got caught up to the Lord, Jerusalem got destroyed. We went into the darkness. The dark ages came after that. And they ruled the world. I mean, not the dark ages, but they ruled after that. Then the dark ages came and we tried to come back. And then they came back in the Renaissance period, wiped us totally out. So that was us in the wilderness without the truth, without Christ. Okay? Go ahead.
Where she had a place prepared of God.
Right. We had a place prepared of the Lord to come here, to be in captivity here for a period of time. Go ahead.
That they should feed her there 1,260 days.
So for that period of time, we went into the darkness and we was fed here. We lived here, lived in this world. After Christ's testimony was up, we lived and he went up to the Lord. We lived in this darkness for these years. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And there was war in heaven.
And then while we in this darkness, war broke out in heaven. That's what we waiting on right now. We waiting now to see Christ and the angels and Michael and all of them come back and make war in heaven. And this war in heaven is not talking about heaven up in space. This war in heaven is him, Michael, making war against the rulers of this world. Remember, this is a This red dragon is a man. So when it says Michael made war in heaven, he's making war against the rulers of this world. He's going to come back with them ships under Christ's command and destroy this place and destroy the people of this place. Destroy them out of their heavenly seat is what he's trying to say here. Go ahead.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon.
And those angels are going to literally fight against Edomite weapons, laser weapons, all that secret technology they have. Angels are going to go to battle against them with those weapons. They're going to come out with their flying saucers that they've been building for years. The Lord going to come with his angels and his ships, and they're going to devour Esau. Esau think his technology is on a level. He ain't seen power until one of them angels comes. Scripture said one angel is 10,000 times brighter than the sun. They can forget about it. When them angels come back, it's going to be a bloodbath. Okay, go ahead.
And the dragon fought and his angels.
Right, and he fought with and his angels, meaning his great people. They fought also. All his aces and his super bad cats, the ones that you hear about, they fought too. All these super armies and generals and admirals and all these cats, all his angels, his superstars, they're going to fight too. And they're going to get killed. Go ahead.
Oh, God. Verse 8. And prevailed not.
They're going to lose this war. When they come out with these weapons in this war, they're going to lose this war. Go ahead.
Oh, God. Neither was there a place found any more in heaven.
Meaning there was no longer any place that they was ever going to rule after this. After they come up against Christ, it's going to revert right back to the days of Cain, where the Lord put that curse on Cain and Cain said, my curse is too great for me. Everyone that see me shall slay me. That day is going to come back. That prophecy is going to come back on Esau's head after he goes up against Michael and the angels. Because the earth will be halfway destroyed, and everybody on the earth will know Esau led the charge to fight against Michael and these angels. And they're going to be like, gather these Edomites up. There'll be no more place for him to be at where he'd be able to rule. His own people are going to say, yo, we don't want no rulership. We're going to obey the new slave masters. We obeying them. We ain't setting up no strength. Anybody talking about we could fight them one more time. We could rebuild. Let's find some other nukes. Let's get the submarines out the water. They're going to say, hell no. There'll be no place for them in heaven no more, meaning no rulership for them anymore. Just like it goes right along with the book of Obadiah where it said that he do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face with cities anymore. This scripture goes right along with it. He'll never have power like that ever again. Read on, tell them where you at.
Verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out.
And he was cast out of heaven. He's going to lose every empire, every rulership, every kingdom. All of them are going to be destroyed. Brought down. Go ahead.
That old serpent.
That old serpent. Why I say that old serpent? Go ahead, Doc.
Goes back to the garden.
Yeah, he's the one that beguiled Eve in the garden to turn against the Lord. He's also the one that became Cain that killed Abel. Then came back as Esau and came out of and rose up the dukes of Edom and turned into what we know today as those 7 heads and those 10 horns. That's been the legacy of his life. So that's why John is saying that old serpent, because he was that. And go ahead.
Called the devil.
And he called the devil because the devil is the adversary. He's always been the adversary of the children of Israel. Go ahead.
And Satan.
And he's called Satan, meaning they call him after the demon Satan because of the evil that he does. Do they not call America the great Satan? That's what they call it, the great Satan. You know what I mean? Do we not say the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of?
That's right.
Do we not call him a snake? That's him. Go ahead.
God, which deceiveth the whole world.
And he deceiveth the whole world with Christianity and Catholicism. Go ahead.
He was cast out into the earth.
Meaning he lost his place of power. He wasn't wiped off the earth yet. but he lost his place of power and was now cast down into the earth, meaning he was lowered to the lowest thing on the planet, which is what he's going to be lowered to. He's going into a cave. He's going to be the lowest thing on the planet. Go ahead.
And his angels were cast out with him.
And all his great men, all his rulers, all his warriors are going to be cast out with him. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation.
Right, because they lose this war, salvation comes to us. We get saved because of it. Go ahead.
And strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of Christ, of his Christ.
Right, and the power of his Christ. Go ahead. Meaning because of Yahushua, because he came and delivered us, we won. Go ahead.
For the accuser of our brethren is cast down.
Right. They accuse us by saying they're the real Jew. They accuse us by saying Jesus is white.
Right.
They accuse us by saying God died for everybody. Right. They accuse us. In other words, they say we're wrong. We're racist. We're a black supremacist group. You understand? They put us on lists when really what we're saying is the truth. What they're saying is the lie. Right. They're accusing us when we're saying the truth about what these scriptures are talking about.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Which accused them before our God day and night.
Go ahead.
Verse 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb.
Right. By Christ going on the cross. When they say by the blood of the Lamb, meaning Christ went on the cross and died. By us turning around and deciding to follow Christ, we took that blood that Christ died for, and we took that blood out and walked in the way of Christ and got delivered. That's what it means when it says by the blood of read it again, the last part.
Oh, God. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb.
Right. They overcame him by Christ dying on that cross and us following Christ. What verse you in?
Verse 11.
Go ahead.
Oh, God. And by the word of their testimony.
And by the word of our testimony, we out on the street, teaching this truth, spreading this gospel throughout all the airwaves. By this testimony, man, because what do? We get out there on the street and say, the Lord gonna put you to death. You know what I mean? These curses gonna come down on you. You know what I mean? The Lord gonna destroy this place. We hate it for it, but it's the truth. And it's the prophecies. Even though we hate it for it, even though they always talking doom and gloom. We're talking doom and gloom because it's coming. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
And they love not their lives unto the death.
Unto death. We didn't have pride in this. We wasn't proud. We didn't love our lives. We walking in this truth, you understand, knowing we sacrificing, knowing we going against the society, knowing that we're going to be hated. You understand? So we don't love our lives. You don't love your life when you come into the truth, because your life then becomes an adverse to this world. So you join Christ over the love of your own life. And because of it, you're going to win this whole thing. You're going to gain everything because of it. Go ahead.
Come. Verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them.
Right. Go ahead.
Oh, God.
Right. Right. Rejoice, all of us. This is him saying to us, you won. So rejoice. You know what I'm saying? You the ones going to rule. You're the ones that's going to be in heaven. He's seeing this in the vision. He's seeing us in the vision and saying rejoice. Seeing the angels say rejoice. All of you that's in heaven. Look at you. You made it. You won. Go ahead.
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath.
Right. When it says woe to the inhabitants of the earth, it's talking about those that's in the bottom of the earth now. Woe, destruction to you and to all of you that's in the sea. Now you're going to be punished. You're going to see everything that you're supposed to see, because now the devil going to come down on you, knowing that he have but a little bit of time. So he going to end you. Go ahead.
Because he knoweth that he had but a short time.
That's right. So all these poor nations and all these poor people who don't follow the Lord or are not part of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, they're going to have hell on earth. And any of us that don't follow the Most High in Christ, we will too. Go to 13.
Verse 13.
Almost done. Going over by about 5 minutes, y'all.
Come. Verse 13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth.
When Esau see that he's brought down and his kingdom is falling and he's losing his power, guess what he's going to do? Go ahead.
He persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child.
He persecuted us, came up against us because Christ was in the earth. And the brothers and sisters is waking up. This is like a recap. The 13th verse is like a recap of what you just read, starting from the first verse. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle.
Them 2 wings of a great eagle is Peter and Paul. It's the knowledge of this truth. Those were the wings of a great eagle to get us up out of here. Go ahead. To wake us up, rather, in the truth. Go ahead.
Counselor, that she might fly into the wilderness.
Remember I said we left out and went into the world. We was given that knowledge, and then we went into the world, and we still got the record to this day. Still sitting here with that Bible. Go ahead.
Into her place, where she is nourished for a time, in times, and half a time.
Go ahead.
For the face of the serpent.
Right, from the face of the serpent. Meaning he ain't turning on us as long as you underneath him and in captivity. He ain't turning on you. You away from the face of the serpent is when you wake up to the truth and become the people of the Lord, that the serpent turns on you. Okay? If you out there being a drug dealer, you loved by this world. They're giving you record contracts, fly cars, all of that. It's when you turn from that. Even your own family, you hear the stories of brothers when they was in the world doing all manner of evil. Then they come into the truth and they family like, what you into, man? I don't like you no more. You stop smoking weed, man, something wrong with you, man. What's that crazy religion you in? Meanwhile, you reading the Bible and gave up drugs and crime and living a pious life, and they looking at you sideways. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? You just cleaned up your damn life. What the hell do they think is wrong with you? But to them, it's something weird. Okay, go ahead.
Come. Revelation chapter 12, verse 15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
And when they say he cast out water as a flood after the woman, he sent out all the lies and false philosophies that he could. Meaning he's trying to drown this nation. He don't want you to wake up. Remember, the woman is us. So he don't want us to wake up. He wants us to drown. So he sends out a flood of lies, a flood of ideologies, a flood of false history. I mean, people didn't know that the Egyptians were black till the 70s. My goodness. People thought they was white the whole time. They put movies of Cleopatra. You know what I mean? Cecil B. DeMille did the 10 Commandments and cast Charlton Heston as the Hebrew. You know what I mean? You don't get much whiter than that. He ain't do much more with the Egyptian, who was Yul Brynner, who I don't know what country he from. He went from one of them Eastern Bloc countries, I think, or something like that. I'm not even sure, but you know what I'm saying? Like that's them sending out a flood to blind you or who you are. Black people today, like, man, I ain't no Jew. I ain't they almost insulted if you tell them that they're a Jew. They have no clue. They insulted by it. A lot of that came from the Muslim world. Back in the 60s, everything was Islam, Islam, Islam. They was fighting the white Jews. So if you said you was a Jew, it was like, hold up, you siding with them white Jews against black people. Look what they doing when they not even realize you saying, no, brother, I'm not with them. I'm the real Jew. It took 20 years for them to get there. It took 20 years for that to get it. It took them to the 80s before they realized we was talking about a different people than the Israelis, than the so-called Jew. Okay? So he sent out a flood to drown everybody with this flood. Go ahead, with this philosophy. Tell them where you at.
Oh God. Revelation chapter 12, verse 15. Middle of verse 15.
Go ahead.
that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
Right. Remember, the woman is us. What does he want to happen to us? Us to be carried away with that flood. That's what all your raunchy entertainment is about. All your drugs is about. All your religions is about. All of that is about flooding you so you can be carried away. That's why you got to fight your desires and lusts.
Right.
Because many of them are created for you. Created to carry you away.
Right.
Go ahead, Op.
Right, sir. Right now, like it's like if you like being
Real
in the
quick.
truth, it's a sight for sore eyes. Like
I could imagine.
it's like so
OnlyFans and all this stuff that's going on out there, that's on purpose.
If I could,
Please.
it's a point where it's like it's soft pornography now. As soon as you open up your phone, if you go to Explorer, if you like on Instagram, like let's say like you go on the Explorer page, right? Like literally, I look at sports and funny videos or informational. They were literally trying to put women that's on that they're trying to put women in there that is prerogative.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They like certain, like I don't know how it is, but they literally get it to the point where these women that is prerogative, that's like out there, they're trying to put them in the algorithm.
Yeah. And it's on purpose. That's part of what my lecture is about. For Thanksgiving weekend, everybody should join me for that lecture. If you in Houston, Texas, damn right. In Houston, I'll be in Houston, Texas. I'll be in Houston, Texas, the weekend of so-called Thanksgiving. That's Saturday with Captain Yahanna and his whole team. We're gonna have a Saturday brunch. It'll be early, like about 1 o'clock, I believe it is, where we be talking about how video games and adult films are being used to destroy your marriage and seduce your man to take him out of the fight in the Third World War. I know that's a lot to digest, but come on out if you in Houston, Texas, or near Houston, or you thinking about coming down. Come on down and join us, man. It's free also, free food, free everything. This is a freebie right here we get ready to do for everybody, because this is how important it is that we get this out before, it gets shut down. So that's a good point the brother was bringing out. All right, let's finish these up right quick and we're going to get up off of it. Tell them where you at. That's right.
Revelation chapter 12, in the middle of verse 15, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
That's right. Go ahead.
Verse 16, and the earth helped the woman.
And when it said the earth helped the woman, meaning the people that were on the bottom that hate that man on the top pulled out all the records and the truth out of the earth. All them archaeologists and all those different groups that went out and found the history on us as a people. They in all the books. Montezinas wrote one. You got some. J.A. Rogers wrote a bunch of them. They all digged up that history out of the earth, and they helped us with it because they helped us find our identity, help us find out who the true people of the Lord are. So-called Jew know himself that he ain't the people.
Right.
You understand? Because they've dug up the records also. Okay, so it said the earth helped the woman. Go ahead.
And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
Right. The earth opened up her mouth, meaning the earth brought out all the lies and exposed the lies. And so it drank up, it swallowed up the lies. It swallowed up all the falsehood that he'd been teaching. He'd been teaching us white Jesus up until the 70s. They didn't start taking that white Jesus out them churches out till 1973. That's when they started taking them out the churches. And they took them out the churches because, of course, the truth started coming out everywhere. And it was like, what you doing with that? I mean, they had 10, 12-foot statues of a white Jesus inside the church, up on the wall. At one time, you would go to church, and every church had the statue of white Jesus on the cross. They took it off that cross. Some of them had them outside. They took them off them crosses because they started getting chastised that Jesus didn't look like that. You know what I mean? By the prophets of the Lord. So they turn around and say, yo, we got to take the statue down. Now, they didn't take the philosophy out of there, which was the bigger problem.
Right.
Taking the color out was good, but taking the philosophy out would have been 10 times better. You understand? So the earth helped the woman. Tell them what verse you at. 2 more verses, y'all. We done.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 17.
One more.
And,
Go ahead. You got it.
and the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
Right. That's what he's going to come to do. He's going to come at us. He's going to try to make war with us, which are the remnant of her seed. Because he done destroyed so much of our people. We the remnant. We the 1/3 that's left over. He's going to try to make war with us before we get up out of here. Once again, this is a recap. They added other details in what we just read from 1 to 12 on down. So it's like he gonna come back and try to battle us and take us out. But he don't know we got backup. We got them angels. We got Michael. We got all that coming. Go ahead.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Can you explain that one more time?
Sure. 17.
Yeah,
Come. Read it again.
Come, sir. Revelation chapter 12, verse 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
So Esau is going to be angry with you. And the reason he's going to be angry with you is because you're going to be waking up brothers and sisters by the tens of thousands as this gets worse. And as you waking these brothers and sisters up, he's going to look at you like a threat. Remember what the scripture said in another part where it said they stood upon their feet and fear fell on the inhabitants of the earth. That's what's going to happen. Like, we're going to just stop being buffoons for this kingdom.
Wow.
And as we start doing that, they're going to be like, wait a minute, they're waking up. Wait a minute, they're getting serious. They're the ones that created gangster rap. That was created by Esau to poison us so that we wouldn't wake up. If you go back and listen to the early rap music, that was revolutionary music. Public Enemy in them was extremely dangerous. Fight the Power? Come on. They were extremely dangerous to this man's kingdom. We was waking up. And now, bear with me because we at the end and we over the time. Like now, at the end, he gonna see we do it again. But this time, we're gonna have seen so many lies and games from him that he's not gonna stop us from waking up this time. So as we start to wake up this time and start coming back into the truth and growing as a people, he's gonna be looking like, yo, they a problem. They're getting big. They're getting powerful. He's going to step up the surveillance, and eventually he's going to want to make war with us. And it says with the remnant, and went to war to make war with the remnant of her seed, meaning the ones of us that's left over. We the ones that come at the end. You know what I mean? We the last generation, her seed being the children that come after her. Not talking about Christ, because this is a recap. So this is talking about, all of us that's left over. Because he done killed off so many of us. He's going to want to make war with that. You understand, Nakar? Okay, let's read it.
God. And went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God.
You see who he's making war with? He ain't making war with everybody because he done destroyed them. But he's going to make war with the ones that keep the commandments of the Most High. And it say specific commandments. Why? So you don't get caught up in the thinking that it's that white Jesus philosophy. No. It's those that walk after the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High and serve Christ. Really serve Christ. He is going to be against it. He's going to be against you if you go there. Go ahead.
God. And have the testimony of Yahanna Mashiach.
Right. We the ones that keep his commandments, and we're the ones that have the testimony of Yahushua. That's who he's going to want to make war from. So that's it. With that, I turn the class over to the officer in charge.
Oh,
For what?
How about Shimon on Shabbat the thumb? Why do I think I'm preaching?